All right, time to check out what you've been saying on the issues that we posted on our social media handles. And Maps is here to walk us through it all. Hi, Maps.
Hi, Arabs. How are you?
I'm good.
All right. We may not read all your WhatsApp messages live on television, but we see them and appreciate them. Continue to WhatsApp us on 055-815-7074 on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We are Joy News on TV. Now, the digging of the gold, the agitation of customers, and the search of one man continues. Nana Apia Mente, where art thou? Now, the latest to add their voice to the men's gold crisis is Dr. Lord Mente, who is kicking against any form of compensation for embattled customers of the gold dealership company. He explains that such a support is likely to encourage other forms of financial activities that breach the country's financial laws. We asked you what your thoughts are on this.
For what reason must government step in to settle this matter? I remember one caution from Bank of Ghana that says that anybody who wants to do business with men's gold does that in their own risk because they were not licensed and all. And there were lots of Ghanaians who actually stood by the owner of men's gold wanting to defend him. And now they're in crisis. I mean, the government has a lot of things to do with, the state's money. So the government should focus on what it has to do in terms of development. And I don't think the government should pay any loss in terms of what happened to the customers of Ben Gold.
I would say yes. And this is because the actual aim of the central bank of the country is to regulate all financial institutions operating in the country under the laws of the Bank of Ghana. So if they accept financial institutions to operate and then they later come up to say the people made an error investing their monies with the institution, then they made the first error by giving the people the mandate to operate in the system in the first place.
There's a basic investment fact that higher investment comes with what? Higher risks. You go into an investment fetching you 120% investment returns. What do you expect? You should expect that you are likely to actually face the same 120% chance of losing that money. So it's like a risk you are taking. You don't have to involve anybody in this. You took your own risks, and now you are facing the consequences.
What connection has men's gold with government? Men's gold with government? That is my question in the first place. If I'm saying with a bank, let's say Bank of Ghana, and there should be any instant, I know that at the end of the day, government was at least getting something out of it. If government has hands in that men's gold business, then fine, he should go in to assist. But with his personal money.
We'll ask you this question on our Facebook page, Joy News on TV, and this is what you had to say. Walanya Akotia says, it is very worried and outrageous that some Ghanaians who should have known better involving the name of the President Nana Addo into men's gold scandal. And so Nam1 was operating illegal under the watch of JM for over 5 years without restricting him. NDC should be blamed for men's gold scandal if it should be related to politics.
Okay, Anaman Respi also says any form of compensation to the customers should also be extended to the disappointed lottery Atakre, Betway, and My Bet lovers. Our boy, Dynasty Kojo Victor says, even though my money day there's some, but I cannot say government should be responsible for the payment of the principals. Nam1 should be the only one responsible for this. When we were enjoying the dividends, I don't think we asked government to come for his share. However, I will urge government to play a role in order to arrest this fraudster to pay customers their hard-earned monies. And Junior Young Boy says, no one needs government compensation. Just arrest Nam1. Let him vomit the money wherever it is. Simple as that.
Now, Kwesi Boateng says, why should we spend the taxpayers' money to offset the predicament of these who defy all warnings and even branded the government wicked? The annoying aspect is most of them are well-educated and wealthy in the society. Yabwa Solomon says, yes, I side with him because how can some group of people mess up and we, the taxpayers, will suffer the consequences? And kudos, Hassan says, he's on the right direction, even though we all sympathize with the customers who lost their monies, but no taxpayers' money should be used to pay them. As Ghanaians, we ought to be careful the way we easily believe people, and our leaders too should always scrutinize people very well before allowing them to come closer to them. Abdul Dre says, let's forgive him. After all, he's only 34 years. Number one, go and sin no more.
We do know the Information Ministry says it is not, government has a position on this matter. It's not going to use the taxpayers' money to pay the customers of Men's Gold.
Now to our next story. Traditional wedding, white wedding, engagement. Are these the same thing? For some, they need a white wedding to actually say they are married. For others, an engagement or traditional wedding will do just fine. Now, Araba, what's your take on this? Do you recognize engagement as marriage?
Well, I think that in the Ghanaian context, engagement is marriage. It's marriage. I mean, people don't see it that way, but it actually is marriage.
All right, let's see what people had to say about this on the streets of Accra.
Traditional marriage, which you call the engagement, is not legal marriage, because after the marriage ceremony is done, there's nothing legal that is binding the couples. So there's really nothing legal about it. Then again, if you have a white wedding or a court wedding, that is not the only time the marriage can be termed or described as legal. You can have your traditional marriage and then still go to court and go and sign.
Our definition for marriage as people, as Ghanaians, is that marriage is a union between two people who have agreed to live as husband and wife. So when both families agree that indeed we want Mr. Kwejo and Harriet to come together, to me it's considered as a marriage.
Once Mr. Kwesi Boachi decides to come and see my parents and take my family list from them, he pays my bride price. We do all the things necessary for us to be recognized as man and wife. I don't see the need for any white wedding. Also, before we started this white wedding thing, our parents and grandparents were marrying. They were marrying without divorce. They were happily married. And today, people get married, and in the next 3 months, they want to divorce.
All right, let's see what people had to say on our Facebook page. We'll start with Walanya Katia, who says, my friend, whether engagement or wedding, it is marriage, full stop. And Kwabena Opong says, the right name is traditional marriage. People just label it engagement so they can have a white wedding in addition. Having just traditional marriage is as valid as having just civil marriage.
Okay, and Samuel Safo Boateng writes, the law recognizes it as marriage, so that's your answer. And Kwesi Boateng Ayipa says, my parents only had traditional marriage, now called engagement, and they are still married till date. We get married and even wed after 2 weeks, 2 hours, we get divorced. By Jeremiah says, not at all. Why should I recognize engagement as marriage? Engagement is part of courtship or dating. You can't engage someone and claim ownership of that person. Ma Kafui writes, according to Ghanaian culture, engagement means knocking, which goes with few drinks. This means that the man has officially informed the lady's parents of their relationship, which the man has the moral and legal right to accommodate the lady in his home. And Abolo Dynasty Kojo Victor says, engagement is the real marriage. White wedding is just an added advantage. My future wife, forget about the wedding because I have no plan of wasting money on this so-called wedding. And Linda Obeng says, Africans have misnamed our traditional marriage as engagement. In most African cultures, marriage is when two sides of the family come together and support the couples and give them their blessing. However, some Christians think this is not good enough. So those are some comments.
Kudos Hassan says, engagement and marriage are so related in such a way that one catches cold, the one seizes. In simple terms, engagement leads to marriage. And he also adds, never, engagement and marriage are two different things altogether. Charles Nanaidu says, we're still looking for the one who gave the fake court order to arrest Namwan. Okay, and Kwame Shadrick. Musa Aram says, no, engagement is the period of time in which marriage is plain. Engagement is done in a covert way, while marriage is done in overt way. And Chris Longlife says, to my wife to be, Don't expect me to do people wedding for you. Traditional wedding is what I'll do for you, simple. This is what I know as married. So if you think you can't let me know so that I can look for who will be ready for that. And the last comment is from Yah Spirit. Sia says, I need Christina Owunu, and FKB Ose says, very misleading for a media house. All right. And Pokwa says, yes, I see that one to be the real marriage. All right, let me take a few of your WhatsApp messages. This one says, Mr. President, don't even try to use our taxpayer, the so-called customers of Men's Gold. When they were enjoying the profit, did they call on you? They should keep quiet and suffer. This is from Asante Evans inside Betcham. And this one says, I don't know about how Namwan got his money, but I think he's an example of a good citizen. He didn't go overseas to spend money, did he? He chose to invest into his country. You know, starting businesses in a part of the world is not so cool. You see now that he's gone, he's in a bad spot. And this one is from Innocent in Koforidua. And Samuel says, statement from the government is the best. My question is, where are those dudes even paying tax? Were those dudes even paying text? And says, okay, please edit your video clips a little. All right, then. Thank you so much for your WhatsApp messages.
All right, so 3 ways to marry in Ghana legally. The first one is the customary marriage. So in Ghana, it's a kind of marriage between a man and a woman and involves the performance of certain local customs. The many variations of the customs, the ethnic groups there are in Ghana. 2 things common to the various customs are a gathering of the extended families of the couple and payment of a bride price to the bride parents. Also, there's the Islamic marriage. It's the kind of marriage that is made in accordance with Islamic rules regarding marriage. So the marriages made under Islamic law must be polygynous. Marriage made under Islamic rules must also be registered under the Marriages Act in order for it to be valid. Also, ordinance marriage or marriage under the marriage ordinance is regulated by the Marriages Ordinance 1884 to 1985, and it is strictly monogamous. One of the parties in the intended marriage must give notice of marriage to the registrar marriage of the district where the marriage will take place. So those are the kinds of marriages we have here in Ghana.
It's Throwback Thursday, and we're asking you, what was the silliest punishment you enjoyed during high school? Before we take our blog, Arba, what was the silliest punishment you enjoyed during high school?
I didn't have any. There was no punishment. I was a very good student in school, so.
Oh, wow. All right, then. Now, let's go to the streets of Accra and see what people are saying there.
This cute lady amongst the Form 1s that we're on campus, had gone to campus fresh students as we call it. So she didn't know. So after prep, we went to dormitory. I just saw her and I was like, hey, oh yeah, then what by this time? I was saying, oh, that bed. So oh yeah, then what? From 1 student who did not have 10 o'clock about then she and quickly, without questioning, asking any questions, she just knelt down. So she went to explain everything to. Apparently, her sister was also in the school. I didn't even know. In fact, I didn't know her, and she explained everything to her, and they got to know that I'm also a Form 1 student. They made me scrub from one end to the other end, which is very, very, very long, quite a distance, you understand? And the down floor too, they made me mobbed. In fact, I had a lot of punishment.
Shall I go and buy Koliko and then bring the change? Meanwhile, your senior wouldn't give you any money to go and buy. So you go there, out of fright, the student or the junior will go and then you realize that, our mom is Campo.
The most serious punishment is actually when the girls' SP asks you to go and bring the girls' dormitory. Then you keep wondering whether it's a thing or it's an actual building that you are supposed to go and bring. Sometimes you keep on, you can't tell whether you should move on or you should still stand where you are until you hear, hey, didn't I tell you to go and bring the girls' dormitory? And then you keep rushing as if you could go bring it.
All right, let's get some of your answers on Facebook. We'll start with Philip, who says, we pushed a car that was drawn on the board. Okay, that is quite silly. And Hanny Morris says, my science teacher asked me to kneel down on the football pitch. Then he traveled 3 days later. He met me in the classroom and asked me, who asked me to stand up? For my punishment, he made me kneel down again at the same place. And about an hour later, he saw me kneeling and he asked, what was I doing there? Okay, so that's quite interesting. Say Obama Pokwasi says, some 6 lashes. Mr. Dodwa, my mathematics teacher, gave me in JHS1, arising from names of talkers that had been written by Eunice in his absence. Eunice, I hope you are reading.
Al Hassan Saeed writes, mine was serious that I can't disclose it here, Accra, because it was my saddest day ever. I came to earth. Must have been really terrible. Emmanuel in Chibwe Siako says, I uprooted a tree for going out at night, and there was a roll call. It has really shaped my life, Papa. And Adams Burma says, being caught for leaving campus and punished to uproot this big tree. I looked at the tree, sat under it, and cried for almost 1 hour. I then went for my tools and began the journey of the hardest punishment I've ever done. And Martin Amidu Jr. writes, my head teacher used his hand, wrote in the air, go home. You are on suspension for 2 weeks. How does one do that? And Joseph Yaghan, is it Hagan? Oh, Hagan says, you hit the wall hard with your fist. And Platini writes, I wrote a love letter to this girl in my class. She read it and mistakenly misplaced it. One guy saw it and forwarded it to the teachers. Oh, you are. This teacher made me lie on the table and roped me. Charlie, 3 teachers lashing me as if I'm a snake. For almost 3 weeks, I couldn't sit with my ass. I crawl because my ass all rot. Winifred Bonkute, where are you? She is that lady.
And Nina Rose says, packing 100 cement blocks from location A to location B over a distance of 100 meters and sending back to point of origin. Let's see what you're saying on WhatsApp about your silliest punishment. This one says, mine was when we were asked to go in search of manure to be used for planting flowers. Oh God, I really enjoyed it. This one says, oh Charlie, I took a pic with a senior's girlfriend. I knelt down on Gary. This one is from Innocent in Kofridia. This one says, I was wiped 4 times for just getting up to submit my homework during silence period. Now let's check out our picture of the day. What is the tourism minister showing Nam1? We posted that on our Facebook page and you guys had quite a lot to say about this. What is tourism minister showing Nam1? Let's take some of those comments. Emmanuel Do says, I love this Nam1 guy. He's the only scammer who bring all the scammers together and scam them. Boss, you do all. He deserves an award. Nana Kojo says, you see that prison? If we there, no, we go keep ya. So that's what the tourism minister is showing Nam1. Michael says, in spite of all what's going on with men's gold and Nam1, 5 years ago it was DKM, God is love, us tilapia. All right, let's see if we can get more comments of what the tourism minister is showing Nam1.
Okay, Avure Amakwe says, showing him how to snatch the president from Nyantechi's pocket and also pocket him. Okay, so Alarmura says, the place to escape from. So that's what she's showing him. Blessed Majid said, the land over is yours. Just pay something small. And Daniel Nieje says, you see that small space over there? You can run through there. Professor Einstein Sr. says she's showing him how Shatawale's mouth can be used to generate income for the country.
All right, Enoch says, you see that man there? He has plenty of money, so convince him after here. And Victor says, thieves in government. All right, and Joseph Van Amo says, if you see any policeman, run to the place I'm showing you. So this is caption the picture. Let's see what's been trending on Twitter. And okay, so hashtag BIM to death. The second one is Imam. The third one is Collect. And this is E.L. and Kwesi Arthur's new song. They released an official video. And the fourth one is Michael Cohen. Our official Twitter page, we are Joy News on TV, also on Facebook and Instagram. On WhatsApp, we're 055 815 7074. Send us all your pictures of the day and video of the day. We gladly appreciate them. I'm Mapito Sibidi, and that's all for Joy News Interactive here on Prime. Over to you, Arba Kumsin.
All right, thank you very much, Mapito. Mapito will be back same time tomorrow.